Now, what good are those New Year's resolutions if you make them and then 2 weeks later you give them up? We spoke to an expert to get some tips on how not to do that. The new year is when folks often make their New Year's resolutions, and we are joined right now by Dr. Holly MacKenna of Dara Wellness to talk about how to make those resolutions more attainable and less stressful.
Right? I mean, it's a thing. Every year we decide we're going to do the resolutions, and then a week or two later we're like, what were those resolutions that I made?
Right. So a lot of the common ones are maybe exercising more. A lot of people do dry January to try and drink less alcohol. What can setting those resolutions do positively for you?
Well, it's great to want to create change. And, we talk, we're both moms. We talk about our kids having growing pains when their limbs are literally getting longer.
Sure.
But there's also growing pains when we're trying to change our behaviors because we're actually making new pathways in our brain. And that does mean effort.
Yes.
And actual attention, and it can be somewhat painful. So when you just make this kind of broad, I'm going to lose weight or I'm going to be more active, it sounds great, but we need to get a little more specific and a little more in an attainable space to actually make it true so that we can create those changes. Because when we make it too big, it gets overwhelming and then we give up.
So maybe rather than saying, I want to lose 50, 25, 10 pounds, say, I want to work out, I want to exercise, twice a week, 3 times a week.
Right. So make it something that is specific. So even exercise, you want to be a little more specific than that. So say like, I'm going to walk more. And then if you can make it measurable, so like I have a dog that loves to walk. So I'll say like, I'll walk the dog around 5 blocks, and then make it attainable. So my husband loves to walk like 5 miles a day because he's a former athlete and that's what he does. That's not attainable for me. Like, let's be realistic. Like, I'm a former dancer. I love to move, but like, no.
You're not gonna do the 5 miles.
Not me. That's not me. But then to make it something that's attainable, something that's realistic for you, and something that's measurable by time. So if you make it so that I'm going to walk more 3 days a week. I'm going to walk, these many blocks 3 days a week with the dog, with my kids, with one of my best friends, someone that can help you stay accountable. My dog helps me stay accountable because he's like, dude, why aren't we going outside? Or if it's a girlfriend, guy friend, somebody that just is going to call you up and remind you, and then you can chat and gossip. That's fun too.
Sure. And not that we're planning for failure, but if we can't live up to those expectations that we really thought we had on January 1st, how do you give yourself a little bit of grace? How do you, because I'm one of those people, I'm a perfectionist, so I can do it, but if all of a sudden I can't do it, then I just want to give up on the whole thing.
And that's pretty common. It's actually gender specific.
Really?
Male friends tend to want to go back in time and be like they were in their 20s, if they happen to be in their 50s. Women tend to be a little more realistic, but it's easy to still kind of jump to that extreme of I'm not as fit as I was in college when I could eat everything in sight and stay up all night and do all the things. Your metabolism's different, what have you, depending on what the goal is. So yeah, part of it is giving yourself grace and again, being realistic. Also attaching changes in behavior to things maybe that you're already doing. So if it's someone who wants to be more active and they're sitting on the couch, you could talk to your primary care doctor, get one of those movement things that you can use when you're sitting.
Sure.
Or like a magic ring or something that you can use to just help yourself be moving while you're watching NOLA Now or doing whatever you do that you enjoy.
And gradually work your way up to that. I know years ago, my cousin Hunter asked me about, couch to 5K, and now he's running marathons.
I love that.
Start small, set attainable goals, and then it can really blossom into something when you get into it.
Absolutely. And then you feel great.
And then you feel great, yes. So good luck with those New Year's resolutions. If they don't work out like you think they did, or they were going to, give yourself some grace.
Absolutely.
Dr. Holly said so. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
My pleasure.